Welcome to Business Math. Happens to be Good Friday, and it happens to be April 18th, and we're going to talk more about computing interest. So let's go straight to a review problem. And see if we can do a little review. So, the formula for interest is equal to principal times rate times time. So, the example that I'm going to go over right now is a short-term loan. In fact, Central National Bank of Enid, they offer what's called Checkmate. Now it's an overdraft protection. By the way, what is an overdraft, Rachel? What is that?
It protects you when you have to write a check and it's not you don't have the funds in the bank.
That's right. And it can be very useful, and also it can be abused. So it's kind of like a sharp knife, and you got to be careful with sharp knives. I've cut myself severely with a sharp knife before. I was working on the back of the computer, trying to get a cable loose with my sharp Swiss Army knife, and I just went zip right through my thumb, and I said, that's gonna hurt. It was so sharp it didn't even hurt right there. And then the blood started squirting out of it, and I decided, you know what, a Band-Aid's not gonna cover this. So I had to go to the emergency room, and they had to sew it all up. In fact, they did a nice job. I can barely see the scar and the stitches. But the point is, sharp knives can be dangerous. Sharp knives, on the other hand, can be very, very helpful. There's a nice use for a Swiss Army knife. In fact, I'm not a big roughing it type person when it comes to camping or anything else. But we did take our grandkids over spring break camping down to Turner Falls. And all I had to do, and of course to try to get firewood, our grandkids wanted a fire every night we were there. And of course everybody and their mother has pretty much picked up every loose stick around. So I had my Swiss Army knife, which happens to have a really sharp saw blade on it. And we started literally sawing down some branches and so forth, of low branches, so that we'd have firewood. So it can be very useful. Well, overdraft protection is very useful, but it's like a sharp knife. So you want to use it very, very carefully, so that you don't hurt yourself, because you definitely can hurt yourself. So, in other words, if you just use it all the time, and you are definitely going to get yourself into some deep trouble, just constantly writing these checks where you don't have money in the bank to cover it, but yet you're counting on your overdraft protection to take care of it. It is nice for emergencies, and I had one emergency one time. I won't tell you all the details because it doesn't matter. But we, over the years, we have not used our overdraft protection very much. But one time, I have $3,000 worth of overdraft protection. And one time, we actually needed that $3,000 of overdraft protection. We were on the road, we were up in Iowa, and boom, I needed the $3,000 of overdraft protection. So, here's the story. The interest rate, well, they will automatically, Central National Bank will automatically put money in my account. Now, for this privilege, it's 22% APR. What does APR stand for, Robert? Do you remember what that stands for?
Annual percentage rate.
Very good, annual percentage rate. So it sounds like a pretty high annual percentage rate. However, you got to keep in mind this actually is an unsecured loan. An unsecured loan. So 22% for an unsecured loan really is not too bad. But what is an unsecured loan, Rachel?
Unsecured loan,
I'll make the question a little bit easier. Is the bank on an unsecured loan, is the bank holding collateral or not on an unsecured loan?
they're not holding anything.
They're not holding collateral. That is correct. And that's what makes it a higher risk loan. By the way, what is collateral, Robert?
It's what you give the bank to ensure that you'll pay back money.
Very good. So in the case of when you're borrowing money for a car, you're actually letting the bank, you're not letting them, they're demanding this because otherwise they won't loan you the money. But you're letting the bank literally own that car until you get it paid off. Because right on the title, it has a lien on that title, L-I-E-N, which means that you can't sell that car. It doesn't belong to you. So when you say, oh, look at my new car, you should actually say, oh, look at the bank's new car. Right, Rachel? That's really what you should do. Because it's not your car until it's all paid for. Well, anyway, so 22% for an unsecured loan, that's not too bad. So the question is, how much interest is actually being used, or does it cost you in one day? For a one-day loan, because you know you're going to be overdrawn, so you got to move some money around, whatever. And I understand as a student, you probably don't have a whole lot of money to move around from one place to the other. And I'm so old that it might take me a little time, but I can move money around, fairly easily. And that's not bragging or anything. It's just because I'm old as dirt. I mean, I should have extra money, and I should have an emergency fund and so forth. Well, anyway, let's see if we can plug the numbers into this formula. And we're going to start with, here's the data that we're going to use. What we're going to do is we're going to borrow $100. The APR is going to be 22%. And we're going to do this, we're going to want to figure out one day's interest. So this is hopefully a review. Now we're going to plug all these numbers into the formula up in here to figure out the interest for one day. So what are you going to plug in for P, Rachel?
$100.
Very good. Plug 100 in for P. And what do you plug in for R, Robert?
22%.
22%, so we might as well put it in as 0.22 when we do this with a calculator. And now the time, you got to be careful because the time is in years. So you can't just say times 1, because that would not be correct unless this was for a full year. And by the way, a great problem-solving strategy that hopefully you have written down in your notebook. Make the problem easier. What we could do is figure out the interest on this money for an entire year. Let's go ahead and do that right now. So this is for 1 year now, not 1 day. So what would the interest be on 1 year, Rachel, for this 22% borrowing $100?
Times 365.
Well, actually, I'm asking the question for years. So right here, this is 1 year, just
Okay.
right now. So that is 1 year. So the question is, how well, because you're right, we would take 1 day's interest times 365 to get a full year's worth of interest. But the question is, what is 100 times 0.22 times 1?
22.
$22. So that's what it would cost. That's what it would cost to borrow $100. Now, there's a lot of credit cards that are 22%. There's even some credit cards that are 29.9. But so a 22% credit card, you'd have to pay $22 in a year's time. That doesn't sound like too much, but watch what happens if you start messing that up. You see $1,000. If you borrowed $1,000, that would be $220. You can see how it can get out of hand. Many Americans, and I think the average is something unbelievable, like $10,000 worth of credit card debt to the average American. Well, the average American then is flushing down the toilet $2,200 of interest every year if they have a 22% credit card. And this is not uncommon at all. That's not uncommon at all. In fact, I know a young couple that has about $15,000 worth of debt with about a 22% credit card, and so theirs would actually be $3,300 a year of flushing money down the toilet. That's a lot of money. That's about $300 a month flushing money down the toilet. So that's what I'm saying. Debt is like a sharp knife. It can be very powerful, but it can be very dangerous. So you just got to be careful about that. Well, anyway, that's what it would be for 1 year. $22 would be for 1 year. Now let's figure it out for 1 day. So instead of multiplying by 1, it's actually got to be, if we want to do exact interest, it's going to be 1 over 365. So in other words, we've got to take that $22 and divide it by 365. Let's see, Rachel, if you can do that faster than I can here. Take $22 divided by 365. What'd you get? $22 divided by 365.
$16.59.
You might want to double check your work. Robert, what'd you get?
I got 6 cents.
6 cents is correct.
Okay.
In other words, you'd get 0.06027 and a whole bunch. So roughly, it's 6 cents a day. It's 6 cents a day. All right? So I'm going to be headed up to Alva today. So, Robert, if I stop by and I say, Robert, I would like to borrow $100 from you for 6 cents a day, and I'm not going to give you any collateral. So what do you think, Robert? You going to do that for me?
Sure.
Sure. You know, you're a very nice person, aren't you? You're just a very nice person. See, now Rachel wouldn't loan me money. Would you, Rachel? You wouldn't loan me money for $100 a day for 6 cents?
Nah.
Nah. She wouldn't do that. But in other words, the point I'm trying to make here, 6 cents a day for an unsecured loan. There's nobody, other than Robert, who's a very nice guy, but nobody would loan me money for 6 cents a day. I don't even think my wife would loan me money, $100 for 6 cents a day. Not that we have 2 piles of money. I mean, some married people do. That's why the joke in our family is when my wife messes up on something, she goes, I'll pay for it. It's a joke because we only have 1 pile of money anyway. So anyway. And when she does mess up, I tell her she's never going to catch me because I've lost $160,000 in 1 month. In fact, for that, she's actually kind of happy because I can never yell at her again for screwing up, can I, Rachel?
Nope.
Nope. So any screw up that she makes, like the other morning, she slept in instead of getting up to take care of our trades, and that cost us about $65. And she could have saved about $5 on each trade, and we had 13 trades. So, do you think I yelled at her for that, Rachel?
Of course you did.
No, I didn't, because I lost $160,000. How could I yell at her for $65? In fact, she's the one that brought it up. I didn't even bring it up. She goes, "Oh man, I could have saved $65 if I wouldn't have slept in." Well, anyway, 6 cents a day. That's not bad, is it?
No.
That's not bad. Well, that's a review of a couple things. Now, by the way, don't think for a second they're going to drop all of that decimal stuff at the bank. Don't think for a second that they're going to drop that 0273973 whatever. Okay? There's a Superman movie where I think it was Richard Pryor became a programmer, and he captured all these fractions of a cent and put them into his account and became a millionaire. That doesn't happen, okay? The bank is going to get their money. So just so you know, the bank does not come up on the short end of the stick very often, right? All right. Then in section 2, we talked about the difference between exact interest and ordinary interest. Now, how many days are there in a year when you do exact interest, Rachel?
360.
For exact interest.
Oh, 365.
365 for exact interest. 360 is for ordinary interest, and the only reason they did that is the old days. We didn't have calculators and computers, and so it was a lot easier to do things by hand. In fact, in the old days, now this is going way back, probably neither Robert or Rachel, neither one of you know what a cipher is, I bet you. You know what a cipher is, Robert?
No.
It's a job that you would get as a human calculator, and you would work in a bank, you'd work in a company, and you were literally hired as the human calculator. Anybody that brings anything to you, so people that were really good at arithmetic, adding big columns of numbers very fast, multiplying things, dividing things, and so forth, they would just send it all to the cipher. And the cipher would be like the human computer that would figure out everything by hand. Well, those jobs are no longer available, being a human cipher. But anyway, that's why they still use 360 as opposed to 365. Now, turn to page 438, 439. When you make a partial payment before a due date, you're going to end up owing less money. Now, hopefully that makes sense. But let's say you have a car loan, and let's say it's a $10,000 car loan, and you end up making some of your car payments early. Now, if you have a $10,000 car loan and you make some of your payments early, I hope it makes sense that you should owe less in interest. Does that make sense to you, Robert?
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Now here, and let's pretend that you were never late on a car payment, and let's pretend that you were either on time or early for every car payment that you made, all right? Now, here's the reality. Oh, let's say your car payment was $300 a month, just for laughs and giggles. And you get down, and let's say you did this for 3 years. The cool part about we have a time value money calculator, real handy, don't we? So we could probably go to the time value money calculator, and we just click right here on the time value money calculator, and we'll figure out what the payment is for a $10,000 car loan $10,000 car loan, paying it off for 3 years. Oh, and let's say, since it sounds like a used car, they're probably going to charge you maybe 5-6% interest, something like that, okay? If you have good credit. Okay, where does the $10,000 go in the time value of money calculator, Rachel?
Present value.
Very good, because they hand you the $10,000 so you can buy this car. And what goes in future value, Robert? Zero, because you paid the entire loan off. I said it was like 5 or 6%. Let's just say 6%. I said it was for 36 months. Don't forget to change the drop-down box to monthly. And then we had payment. Oh, that's pretty close, wasn't it? I said $300 a month. So every month, your car payment is $304.22 a month. And let's say you never pay that car payment late, and you actually pay it early sometimes. Did you know that your last car payment is less than $304.22? Now, how many banks will calculate that for you if you don't ask them? And when you just write your last check for $304.22, how many banks will send you a refund without asking, Rachel?
None.
None. They'll just keep your money. Because they figure, hey, if you're a moron, that's your moron tax. Dave Ramsey calls it stupid tax. But, so if you don't know, if you kept track of when you made your car payments and you never made one late, and you made some of them early, that last payment is not $304.22. It might even be like $169. But the bank is not going to tell you. They won't tell you. They'll just keep your money. And then if you point it out, especially if you're persistent, if you point it out to somebody that doesn't know anything at the bank, which is pretty much everybody. You all knew that, right? The people that work at the bank, they don't know anything. There's very, very few people at the bank that know anything. And those have the title vice president on it. So if they're not a vice president, of something, then they probably don't even know this. They'll just say, oh, sir, well, that's your car payment, $304.22. Sorry. So you'll have to be persistent at this, and you'll have to talk to a supervisor, and then the supervisor still might not know anything. And then you have to talk to their supervisor until finally you get to a VP. You might have to go 3 or 4 levels up in the organization to finally get to somebody that knows something. And then this, I shouldn't call him a clown, should I, Rachel?
No.
But I will. This VP clown that really knows what they're doing will make some statement like this. You know, every time our bank makes a mistake and it's pointed out to us by a customer, we correct it. I've had that exact line told to me by a clown VP. And in parentheses it is, we rip off everybody else. That's what's in parentheses. All right? So can you tell I'm still pissed off about this?
Oh, yeah.
Well, anyway, the reason it hacks me off so much is because banks are taking advantage of consumers all the time, and the consumers don't even know it. Now, some consumers, they know they're getting ripped off. They just don't know how a bank's doing it. Okay? They just don't know how they're doing it. They have a feeling that they're getting ripped off. Okay? And you know, you have a feeling that your broker's ripping you off when you're trading stocks and stock options, and did you know, I should have done this probably a year ago. But last year, we had a good year, so I'm not complaining. You're not going to feel sorry for me, are you, Rachel?
Nah.
Not at all. So we had a really good year trading stock options. Well, we spent $7,634.31 in commissions. Well, I called the guy up, because we just set up a new account for my wife, and they were even going to charge higher commissions. And I said, hey, we spent $7,634.31 in commissions. Do you think you can lower my commission rate? This comes from the book, You Can Negotiate Anything, which, by the way, is one of the extra credit books. It's a great problem-solving book. And, you know, after negotiating, he reduced our commissions by about 16%, something like that, where that would have saved me about $1,300 last year. So this next year, hopefully we'll have another good year, and hopefully it's going to save me about $1,300 for negotiating with the broker on this one. All right, well, let's keep moving. When you make partial payments, for example, on a car loan, early before due date, it's going to lower your interest rate. Now, that's the main thing you need to know. I want you to look bottom of page 438. Hopefully you have your book with you. It is. Here's the example. Oh, I love the fictitious name. Jeff Edsel. Maybe he was named after the 1958 Edsel. Edsel was one of the biggest failures of the Ford Motor Company. And in fact, the guy that designed the Edsel really felt badly, and that felt like he was a failure, but he did not quit. In fact, he invented then, here's your little Ford trivia, what famous car did he just invent after his abysmal failure? The Ford Mustang. How do you like that? So he didn't let that failure stop it. Well, Jeff Edsel, he owes $5,000 on a 4%. Let's jot some of this stuff down. And be sure you're looking at the bottom of page 438 if you're an online or a live student, because I'm going to write this up here. I will write it up here to kind of summarize. All right, so he owes $5,000. $5,000, that's what he owes. That's principal. He has a 4%. His APR is 4%. It's a 90-day note. Okay? 90-day note. And on day 50, Jeff decides to pay some money. This is early. On a 90-day note, he doesn't have to pay anything until the 90 days is up. Okay? So on day 50, he pays $600. And then again, on day 80, he pays an additional $800. Okay? Now we got to see what's going to happen. And it said, assume a 360-day year, because that's going to make it easier. So now we want to know what's the adjusted balance after day 50 and after day 80. Because this is very important, because it is going to affect the amount of principal that's left. In other words, if he didn't make any early payments at all, let's make the problem simple. First, let's pretend no early payments at all. So we're going to make this problem nice and simple. No early payments at all. So we take $5,000 to get the interest times the 4% times what, Robert? He waits all the way to 90 days to pay this thing off.
90 over 360.
90 over 360, very good. So you can see why back in the old days we loved 360-day a year. In fact, back in the old days, every month had 30 days. Every month had 30 days. Every quarter had 90 days. Every year had 360 days. Every half year had 180 days. It makes the calculations nice and simple. So, if he didn't make any early payments at all, this actually would divide out to be 1/4, wouldn't it? So it'd actually be the same thing as 5,000 times 0.01. I think I can even do that in my head without a calculator. Move the decimal point over 2 places, and we get $50. So if he didn't make any early payments whatsoever, he would actually owe $50 worth of interest. Now, he's not going to owe $50 worth of interest because he's paying off some of this early. So now let's track this thing down, and let's do this step by step. So now let's take it at the end of the first 50 days. Well, what we need to do is, it's almost the same, it's a little bit harder. We take 5,000, and we take that times 0.04, and then we take it times 50 over 360. This is going to tell us the interest that he owes on those, in that first 50 days, okay? Now, if you're really technical, it should have said he made this payment before 3 o'clock. A lot of times, see, after 3 o'clock, they'll say it goes to the next day. But let's not get that technical, all right? So if you do the math here, multiply this all out. We're going to speed this up because we're almost out of time. We end up getting $27.78. Now, hopefully that's what you got. In other words, on your calculator to punch it in, you go 5,000 times 0.04 times 50 divided by 360. That's the easy way to do that on your calculator, okay? Now, if you have a Kmart Blue Light Special, it's not going to work correctly. So hopefully your calculator, I think, Rachel, your calculator, and I think, Robert, your calculator has correct order of operations. I don't have time to talk about that right now. But anyway, this will give you the correct answer, hopefully. By the way, is that what you got, 2778, Rachel?
Yes.
All right, good deal. So, that is the amount of interest that you owe on day 50. So, you don't owe the $600 anymore, okay? You don't owe the $600 anymore. But you paid off some interest. Now, you're not going to reduce the principal by $600. Do not get confused about this. You see, this $27.78 right here, this goes into the bank's interest cha-ching drawer. That $27.78 goes cha-ching, and they put that in their drawer. They're not going to subtract that off of what you owe. So you're going to have to take the $600 and subtract this $27.78. So now they're only going to subtract $572.22. That's what you get if you subtract those two from your $5,000 principal. So after day 50 now, you are going to owe $427.78. This is the rest of the loan. That's how much you owe. That's your adjusted balance. In other words, it becomes your new principal. Now we've got to do a calculation again. Times 0.04 times, and it says he paid on day 80, so you put 80 over 360, right, Robert?
Yeah.
Oh, good job. I tried to trick you. It's not nice to trick people on a Good Friday, but I tried anyway. So, it's not 80 over 360. What is it, Robert?
30.
30, because this was, it was on, we want to know on day 80, so we're only have 30 days from day 50 to day 80. It's only 30 days from day 50 to day 80 is 30 days. Now, banks will try to get you if they can, all right? I'm just trying to tell you what real life is like. See, day 50 to day 80 is 30 days for you and for me, right? Yeah.
but not for them.
A lot of times the bank is going to say, no, that's 31 days. You see, they will count on the end. But for the sake of argument, just use the 30 days. We're going to pretend that this is a very ethical bank. Notice I use those two words in the same sentence. Ethical and bank. That's like ethical lawyer.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Well, and now, if you really want to get funny, in the same sentence, smart professor. Right? All right. Doesn't happen very often, right? All right, so that's how we came up with 30 days. And because day 50 to day 80 is 30 days, so now you're going to compute that 30 days worth of interest. That 30 days worth of interest is $14.76, and hopefully you agree with that. You punch it in, take $4,427.78 times 0.01 times 30 divided by 360, you'll get this $14.76. Now, same type of thing goes, they're not going to subtract $800 off the principal. No, they're not going to subtract $800 off the principal. They're going to put the $14.76 in their ka-ching interest drawer. Okay? So they're not going to do that. You don't get $800 subtracted off of this $4,427.78. You only get $785.24 subtracted. So your new principal, and this will be for the last 10 days, then, $3,642.54. So that's for the last 10 days. So now, to figure out the interest for the last 10 days, you're going to multiply that times 0.04 times 10 over 360. And the interest then for those last 10 days is $4.05. That's the interest that you owe for the last 10 days. Okay? Oh, by the way, for extra credit, if you can find me a calculator out there on the internet, a web-based calculator, where it will tell you how much money should your last car payment really be. You'll have to tell, like on 36-month payments, it'll have to ask you, like you say, well, I paid 4 days early on payment number 17. I paid 3 days early on payment number 23. I paid 7 days early on payment number 31. And then, boom, it tells you what should your car payment be actually on your last car payment. If you can find me a web-based calculator for that on the internet, I'll give you significant of extra credit. Because I haven't located one yet. I haven't tried, but I haven't located one yet. All right. Now, when we add up all these amounts, when you add up the 2778 plus the 1476, add that plus the 405, notice you get $46.59. So your total interest, the total interest was $46.59. Now, do you remember what the total interest would be if we didn't make any early payments at all? Do you remember what that was, Rachel? In other words, we did figure it out. We figured it out, and we said if he doesn't make any early payments at all, it's just his $5,000 times 0.04 times 90 over 100.
Over 100 or over 360?
360, I'm sorry. Now you know why I could never record this in front of an
It's
empty.
$50.
Yeah, it was
$50.
$50. So you notice. See what I just told you? It was $46.59. You don't owe the complete 50. Now that is some awesome news. That is some awesome news. So, see if you can find a web-based calculator. You're going to have to do Google search for like car payment calculator with early payments, something like that. See what you can come up with in Google and post that at the discussion board. Put your source, you always put your source down, and that'll be worth, and then email that to me as well. Both you live students and online students, email that to me as well, to my J.J. Gustafson one, because I will really be interested in that one, because that would be a very powerful tool for a consumer. See, and I could pass that tool along to my personal finance class as well, because, wow, that's powerful. Very, very powerful to have that calculated. Well, that's all the time we have for today. I'll see you guys Monday. Have a great Easter weekend.